I've not been completely honest with you, because over the last 23 months, I have been hiding a secret experiment to answer one specific question. But this is something I can't do on my own, and if you want to know how you can be involved, then don't forget to stick around the end of the video. Hello everyone. My name is Maxwell Earp, an up-and-coming fantasy author who has been sitting on a secret for almost 2 years, and today I'm finally ready to tell you the truth. It all started with a mental breakdown, and we're talking a proper whopper, like can't eat anything, getting panic attacks, eating a ready salted crisp kind of breakdown. That actually happened, by the way, while playing a game of Baldur's Gate 3 with my friend Damien.
True story.
I digress. Long story short, various amounts of trauma in 2023 led to me being unable to leave the house. Now, why the heck is all this relevant? Well, I knew things weren't gonna get better if I didn't force myself out my comfort zone. So I decided to join my wife on a trip to the supermarket, and to help me along the way, I thought I'd listen to a podcast, which is how I discovered the fantastic 2ToRamble. Pretty much two guys discussing the fantasy books they read and giving ratings based on a very specific system. I loved it. I'd been getting into reading fantasy and dreamed of writing some of my own one day. Then, after watching their ranking fantasy tropes video, I very quickly realized something magical was going down, and it left me wondering, does writing to market actually work? You see, in marketing, we have this thing called an audience avatar, which is essentially a fictional character that represents your target audience. In these videos, Richard and Austin were pretty much telling me exactly what they wanted out of a story. I thought instead of creating an audience avatar, they could become the audience avatar. After a few months of research, I had an idea which became the catalyst for the secret I will reveal to you today. So one random evening in August 2024, I took out my phone and sent this video to Richard and Austin. Hi Austin, hi Richard, my name is Maxwell Earp, and yeah, this probably seems a bit odd and really off-ball for you, but I had this really crazy idea and I thought it'd be awesome for your content, because I've literally never seen anyone do this on their podcast before, and I feel like it might fit your podcast. I don't know, you might not like it and just completely ignore me, but that's fine. But what I thought would be really cool is if I did that and we had a little chat. It's like, what does your ideal reader want? And we can talk about what you guys enjoy and make a good joke and have a laugh with it, I don't know. And then after that, I'll basically go off and write the book, give you guys a copy of the book for free, and you can read it, and then if you really don't like it, you can just roast it, and I'll come on, you can roast it, and I can learn from it, and the audience can learn why they don't want to read my book. Or alternatively, if you really like it, then I will put both of your names in the book, and yeah, and obviously it's free, and I'll just be thankful. They emailed me back a few days later, and just like that, the experiment which would shape the next 2 years of my life was secured. My initial idea was to interrogate them both and dive pretty deep into what they thought made the perfect story. Taking those notes, I would craft an idea around what they wanted it to be. And then when it was done, they would read the book and give it a rating so we could get our answer in the bag. We met up online and recorded an episode of the pod that lasted over 2 hours, with the intention of filming a second part once the experiment was over. But when we were waiting for the footage to render, disaster struck. Austin messaged me for a chat, and we sat down as they revealed the worst possible news. They felt that everything we had just recorded had already appeared on the pod in some shape or form. I thought the experiment was dead in the water, but then they suggested something else. They wanted to make a document, one that we titled the Mad Libs Idea Document, where they would list answers to specific questions about each of the 6 categories in their rating system. I would then take the ideas they had and write them up into a novel for them to decide whether they enjoyed it when their own favorite ideas were turned into a story. While this wasn't the approach I'd been hoping to take, I still felt like the experiment had legs, so I agreed to give it a go with a caveat. This had to be a 50,000 word novel. I wanted it to be short so that I could turn it around in a couple of months and get back to an idea that I was plotting at the time. After recording the second attempt at the pod, one that would last a more modest 52 minutes, I took the idea they gave me and sat down to turn it into a novel. I spent an entire week trying to transform these random ideas into a coherent story, and on the 16th of September 2024, I sat down to write the first draft. Things started out pretty well. I managed to knock out 4,550 words on the first day alone, and then following that, I had my best ever writing day to date at 6,055 words. Whether they're any good or not is anyone's guess. The first problem I had to solve was how I take these characters and this story and make it something I have enough passion for to sustain 50,000 words. Thankfully, I already had a connection with the idea that had been pitched, and it didn't take long for words to start forming. It wasn't until the 48,000 word mark where everything started to fall apart. I'd only just written the first act out of 5, and it didn't look like it was going to be finishing anytime soon. This 50k book was looking more like 250k. The ideas were big, the character list was long, and there's no way it was going to be done in just a few months. There's a big part of me that's like, I'm trying to make this too big, when there's really just one message I want to get across. There's one really, really important message I want to get across. That doesn't have to be so big. What is missing is mystery and excitement. And there's this level of mystery and excitement in this new idea that I really like. So just like that, I scrapped 41,000 words and got back to the drawing board, trying to turn what was originally Act 1 into the entire plot. Now that I'd simplified things, surely I'd be able to get things done in 3 months, right? Wrong. Because I actually managed to finish this draft, and it didn't go as expected. Once I'd managed to rework the idea, I was convinced I was going in the right direction. I worked on the book from October the 14th, 2024 until March the 28th, 2025. Remember that one time when that crazy author got in contact with you, the one that's not actually published any work yet, and he said that he was going to write a book just for you? Well, what you're looking at is 163,278 words of blood, sweat and tears over the last 6 months. And finally, it is here. Is it quite the masterpiece I joked that it would be when I started writing it? You can decide when you read the final draft, but right now, definitely not. And I didn't realise quite how true that statement was going to be. I edited the book from April 2025 to July 2025, and the more I edited it, the bigger it got. Until finally, the draft hit 193,000 words. Eventually, I started to juggle editing with sending off work to my critique partner. And that is when I realised how truly stupid I had been. Because up until this moment, I hadn't shared my ideas with anybody. I'd existed in my own echo chamber, and before I knew it, it became very clear how truly damaged this draft was. With all of the 2ToRamble bad reviews I'd ever seen running through my mind, I ploughed on through August, hoping to salvage the hot mess. Surely there'd be a way to fix things. Spoiler alert. There wasn't. In September 2025, I decided to train as a developmental editor, and what I learned during this time made me see every flaw and issue I'd had when working on this book. So finally, after 1 year since writing the first word, I had a very difficult decision to make. I honestly have never committed to a project as long as I've committed to this one. And I keep looking back on its journey, and I keep thinking about how much I've done and how hard I've worked and where I'm at right now with the book and what that kind of means going forward. And I just want to talk about it because we're 1 year in. What have I learned in a year? What have I done in a year? There's been a lot of back and forth about what works, what doesn't. There's been a lot of experimentation. There's been a little bit of outlining. There's been a little bit of discovery writing. And there's been tears. There's been tears along the way. There has been struggles. There's been lacks of motivation. There's been bursts of motivation. There's been great inspiration. There's been times where I've just felt not ready. There's been really bad word days, but then there's also been really long word days, really lots of words. And where I'm at in the journey right now, interestingly, because I had a conversation with my critique partner yesterday, which could just change everything. It would mean that in the next 4 months, I am writing what is pretty much a new book. That's right. I decided to scrap the entire 193,000 words that I'd worked on during the last year and start again. This 50k novel had turned into a beast twice. After outlining and simplifying and discussing with my critique partner constantly, I started writing the next draft on October the 6th, 2025. I finally finished writing this one on July the 14th, 2026. It came up to 190,920 words. To sum it up, no matter how hard I try, this story always seems to need that length. Now we're pretty much up to date. Let's talk about where you factor in. Because I still don't have an answer to that question I asked all that time ago. Does writing to market actually make a difference? And the reason that I'm telling you this now is because on this very day, 2ToRamble and I are finally announcing this project. I've decided to do this because the next draft of this book will be the final draft. Once it is completed, it will be ready for Richard and Austin to read, but they are just the first part of the experiment. Not only will we discover whether it's to their liking, but I want to know whether it's to your liking too, meaning that every raw and honest review will add data to what the overall answer will be. From now on, I will no longer be working in the shadows. Every Friday, starting from today, I will be updating you on the progress of the book, and I also have some fun announcements that I'm going to give out along the way. At the 25% completion mark, I will do a title reveal. At the 50% completion mark, I will do a cover reveal. At the 75% completion mark, I will do a synopsis video. And finally, at the 100% mark, I will release the first chapter for everybody to have a look at. That's not all though, because there are some unique twists and turns to do with the launch date coming up, and I'll be revealing them to you soon. Not only that, I'm starting up a mailing list as of today, so if you want to be the first to know about anything that changes with this project and see these major reveals early, then don't forget to sign up there, and you might find some freebies coming your way soon. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am so excited to bring you on this journey with me. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.